At this time, I would like to introduce my coworker, Kate Ireland, who works with me on the workforce development team, who will introduce our speakers. Take it away, Kate.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am lucky and have the pleasure of introducing three of Tracy and I's coworkers here at Opham's, Carlita Boyd, Taylor Schueler, and Jordan Richardson. Carlita has worked for the state for the past 28 years. She started out in community service office. Carlita spent the majority of her career doing child welfare work, helping to ensure children were cared for and safe while out of home care. In October 2023, Carlita decided to make another career change and became the Forensic Navigator Diversion Supervisor. That's a mouthful. Carlita has a master's degree in social work from the University of Washington, Tacoma. We also have Taylor Schueler, who has worked with the state for 1 year as a diversion navigator. Prior to working for the state, Taylor worked as a forensic mental health counselor, providing outpatient community health services for 7 years. And Taylor has a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice. And we have Jordan Richardson in a supporting role, as Jordan has laryngitis today, but is still a part of the team and is here and supporting. Jordan has worked as a diversion navigator for the past 8 months. Prior to working for the state, Jordan worked with survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence, as well as provided prevention education about sexual assault and domestic violence to community members and youth. Jordan has a Master's of Science in Criminal Justice with an emphasis in legal studies and a Bachelor of Arts degree, majoring in law and justice and minoring in sociology. So I will turn it over to you all. Carlita, I believe you are going to get us started. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kate, for that introduction. As Kate said, yes, my name is Carlita Boyd, and I am the new Forensic Navigator Diversion Supervisor, and I brought 2 of my staff along with me today, Taylor and Jordan. Jordan is here to support. As Kate said, her voice is not the best today. And so today we are going to provide an overview of the DSHS Forensic Navigator Diversion Program, eligibility requirements, how the program works, the function of the diversion navigators, the difference between a diversion navigator and forensic navigator, who we are as diversion navigators, how to reach us, and what you can do if you have anyone who works with this population. If you have any questions during this presentation, we do ask that you please put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Now, Taylor will start by providing a program overview.
Thank you, Carlita. So the True Blood versus DSHS lawsuit challenged unconstitutional delays in competency evaluation and restoration services for individuals detained in city and county jails. The True Blood Contempt Settlement Agreement establishes a plan for providing services to persons involved in the criminal court system and for providing treatment to people when needed so they are less likely to become involved in the criminal court system. Diversion navigators work to identify incarcerated people who may be eligible and willing to engage in services or diversion programs pursuant to RCW 1077. Diversion navigators seek to identify these people with the goals of diverting them from the competency process and breaking the cycle of criminal reoffense by offering wraparound services and assisting individuals for up to 6 months while they engage in these services. These people will be identified through our forensic data system. This program is voluntary and not mandated by the court. I do want to share a little bit about the day-to-day work looks like for a diversion navigator in our phased regions. The start of our day begins by checking our region's jails for new arrests for individuals who are eligible. We have a research data and analysis list that is provided to us, which lets us know who has had a competency evaluation within the past 2 years. If we find an individual in jail with the same name and birthday as on the research data and analysis list, we will look at a variety of different databases that could give us information to determine if the individual meets criteria, which I will dig into deeper later on in the presentation. Once we've determined that an individual meets eligibility criteria, we reach out to the jail where the individual is detained and schedule an appointment to meet interview, and observe that individual to determine willingness and suitability. All jails are different, and they have different ways of scheduling and different timeframes. For example, in my region, I have a jail where I don't need to communicate or schedule an appointment for when I'm coming to interview. I just need to show up and interview. However, another jail, they do prefer to schedule out a day and I have to have an appointment. Once the appointment has been requested or confirmed, then we contact the prosecutor and the defense of the court that the new charge is out of. We will notify them that the individual is eligible for diversion and that we will meet, interview, and observe that individual for diversion, willingness, and suitability. So the diversion navigators will meet, interview, and observe individuals unless specifically told otherwise. And diversion navigators will meet eligible individuals either in person or virtually. So diversion navigators meet, interview, and observe eligible individuals to identify their unmet needs in the community. Diversion navigators will offer a diversion plan to the parties that meet their identified needs through resources and referrals, such as mental health services, substance use services, physical health services, housing support services, such as the Forensic Housing and Recovery through Peer Services program known as FHARPS, vocational support, non-clinical case management support, such as projects for assistance in transition from homelessness, known as the FPAC program, and other services that may be available in the community as needed. These individualized diversion plans can result in the dismissal of criminal charges by agreement of the parties. Services will be set in place to support the person's stability in the community and prevent any further involvement with the justice system. The court's requirements may vary in the different regions dependent upon the court. So I've told you a little bit about the diversion program. Now I'll transition to reviewing what the diversion eligibility requirements are, and then talk a bit about the difference between diversion navigators and forensic navigators. For an individual to be considered eligible for diversion, we require that the individual has had 2 or more cases dismissed in the preceding 24 months due to incompetency to stand trial findings, and are at risk of another incompetency finding for their current charge if that charge is a misdemeanor up to a Class C felony with some exclusions. And before I dig into what those exclusions are, I did want to clarify that we define someone as at risk of another incompetency to stand trial finding for their current charge as someone who is at risk if they've had 2 or more findings of incompetency and 2 charges dismissed in the previous 24 months. So somebody who has had 2 or more cases dismissed in the previous 24 months, we would say that that person is at risk of another incompetency finding for their current charge. If that charge is a misdemeanor up to a Class C felony, and here are the exclusions. We do not take felony physical control of a vehicle or felony hit and run resulting in injury, or assault in the 3rd degree with criminal negligence causes bodily harm by means of a weapon or other instrument, assault in the 3rd degree with criminal negligence causes bodily harm in substantial pain for a period causing considerable suffering, or a hate crime, or a Class C felony with a domestic violence designation, or a Class C felony sex offense, or a Class C felony with a sexual motivation allegation. And this information can all be found in RCW 1077.072. Individuals also must be clinically appropriate, suitable, and willing to comply with the following. 1, individuals must be willing to adhere to medications or receive prescribed intramuscular medications prescribed by their outpatient provider. This could be a primary care provider or a behavioral health provider. 2, individuals must have a willingness to work towards abstaining from alcohol and non-prescribed drugs and medications with substance abuse treatment supports if applicable. And thirdly, individuals must be willing to comply with urine analysis or breathalyzer monitoring if needed or required by the courts and or their treatment providers. So this is what we're looking at for when we are doing our daily jail search and screening people for eligibility. We're verifying that they've had 2 or more cases dismissed in the preceding 24 months, and then making sure that they have an eligible offense. After that, that's when we reach out to the jail to schedule, alert attorneys that we're going to go interview their person. And then we go to the jail, meet, interview, and observe that individual to determine if they're willing and suitable to do the following things that I listed: the taking medications, working towards abstinence, and engaging in UA or breathalyzer monitoring if requested by the court or their treatment provider. So now I'll just transition to provide a brief explanation between diversion navigators and forensic navigators. So what is the difference between the forensic navigators and the diversion navigators? Well, diversion is a subdivision of the forensic navigator program. There is now a statute for criteria for individuals to be diverted away from the competency restoration process. While forensic navigators work with individuals through the competency restoration process, diversion navigators seek to divert individuals from the competency process before competency has even been raised. Diversion has a specific timeline as well of 6 months. We see diversion as an extra layer of accountability that these individuals within the true blood population did not have before. So a diversion navigator can work with an individual before a 1077 is ordered, but once a 1077 is ordered, the individual would then transition to working with a forensic navigator. So in summary, the diversion navigators are offering services before competency is raised for a specified timeline of 6 months, while forensic navigators are offering services once competency has been raised. So I know I gave you all a lot of information today, from outlining the diversion navigator goals to the function of the diversion navigators, what eligibility looks like, and how the diversion navigators differ from the forensic navigators. I do have one request for you all before I turn it back over to Carlita. We ask for your support and your coordination. We ask that the jail partners collaborate with the diversion navigators to coordinate timely visits with inmates at the jail so we can meet, interview, and observe eligible persons as soon as possible. We ask that the behavioral health providers coordinate care with the diversion navigators to support clients getting enrolled and accessing services in a timely manner. We ask for timely coordination to ensure that we are able to offer diversion to eligible persons as soon as possible. So thank you all for your help and your coordination. And now I'll hand it back over to Carlita to tell you a little bit more about who we are.
Thank you, Taylor. So we currently work out of the phased regions, which were outlined in the True Blood settlement. And we currently have 8 total diversion navigators. We have Zeke Wells in phase 1, which is the Southwest region. That includes Clark, Skamania, and Klickitat counties. We began diversion work in that area January 2024. We also have Jacqueline Adams, who is in phase 1, which is the Spokane region. That includes Spokane, Stevens, Adams, Lincoln, Pend Oreille, and Ferry counties. We began diversion work in that region, in that area, March of 2024. Toby Hickenbottom is in phase 1, which is all of Pierce County. We began diversion work March 2024. In phase 2, which is King County, we have Taylor Schueler, Soledad Strupar, and Jim Everett. When we began diversion work March 2024. We have Jordan Richardson in phase 3, and she covers Thurston and Mason County, and we began diversion work April 2024. We have Laura Barnum in phase 3 and covers the Salish region. That includes Jefferson, Clallam, and Kitsap counties, and we also started in that area April 2024. We are currently in the process of hiring 2 more people to add to the King County phase 2 region. So we are coming to the end of our presentation today. We have a couple of handouts, our Diversion Navigator one-pager and process map, which can be found under the True Blood resources on the DSHS website. If you have not received them, we can provide those to you. We have links that we can provide as well. As our program continues to evolve, if you have any questions or suggestions about improvement, please feel free to reach out to us at the shared diversion email address that we can also put in the chat. We wish to collaborate with everyone who is involved in this process in order to make this program successful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see that we do have one question here. Can you please describe the notification process? How is your office notified that a person is in need of your services? Do you contact the jails? And what does that look like?
Yeah, so Taylor kind of touched on that earlier on in the presentation. And so we have a data list that includes names of individuals who meet our criteria. And what we do on a daily basis is we search the jail rosters in our region to see if any of those individuals that are on the roster have been arrested. And if so, then that's when we will reach out to the jails to schedule an interview. We also contact the attorneys, so defense and prosecutors on the cases in order to schedule that interview.
Okay, thanks. So, so the jails that you work with, do you have contacts of the people you're supposed to notify, or do you just call the commanders, or you just call the regular number and whoever answers? How does, I mean, is there a specific person that you notify to get this ball rolling at the jails? Have you identified folks that you would call in your regions on the jails that you work with?
Yes, but and Taylor can speak to a little more specifics about that.
Yes. So for some of the jails that we go to, some of them, they don't require us to schedule an appointment. We can just show up to their visitation window and then we can just do our visit that way. But some jails that we do have to schedule, we do have points of contact. For example, Score Jail, they have their programs that we reach out to through an email and let them know who we want to see, date and time, and they let us know if they can facilitate that or not. Other jails, such as in Jordan's area, there's Nisqually Jail, where she also has a set email address of people that she reaches out to at that jail to request time to meet, interview, and observe eligible persons.
Okay, fair enough. I just want to make sure that that our jails that you're working with all are aware of the process and are able to collaborate with you effectively and timely so you can get this going. And so if there's any jails out there, you want to relay who your contact information is for our navigators, feel free to use me as the liaison, and I will do my best to connect you guys. And so that way there's a timely transition of information and getting services provided. Okay, is there anybody out there that has any questions for our team of navigators?
There's
Can
another
I ask-
question in the chat, Tracy. Oh, do you want to go ahead, Carlita? There are more questions.
Yeah.
So go ahead and
Yeah.
I will then voice the question.
I wanted to add to what Tracy was saying about the jail contacts, because what we tried to do and have done with most of the areas in the jails in the different phase regions is we've tried to do jail tours. So we have toured some of those jails and we've come in and we're able to ask questions. And so we really tried to do that up front when we knew we were going to be needing to come out and interview individuals. So if you don't think that a diversion navigator has been out to your jail, we would love to come out, tour it, answer any questions for you all as well.
Excellent, thank you. And Carlita, make sure that, I think you've already sent me those handouts, and I will make sure that everybody in my network gets copies of those.
Thank you. And Jordan also put them in the chat.
Okay, great.
This is Kate. In
Okay.
the chat. It's do you have someone in phase 3, specifically Kitsap County?
Yes, I do. Her name is Laura Barnum. And I'm trying to think. I went to a meeting with her. We were at the courts in Port Orchard. And I'm not I can't remember if that's Kitsap County, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Kitsap County Courthouse. I know we met with some prosecutors and defense out there, but I'm not real. I don't remember visiting a jail, but yes, we do have somebody in Kitsap County. And if you would like for us to come to a visit, we could do that as well.
Okay, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll get this recording up and running, and we'll get it sent out by the end of November, and we'll get the handout sent out as well. Next month, we're going to be having the statewide reentry council join us. They're going to be talking about how their services that they provide to people releasing from prisons is now going to be expanding to people releasing from juvenile facilities, county jails, city jails, and tribal jails. So we look forward to seeing you next month at the next event. So with that, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. Have a good day and be safe. Take care now.